this is Eating Healthy on a Budget. I have for you 10 tips and tricks that you can use to eat healthy without breaking the bank. Tip number 1 is to plan your meals. This part is crucial because in order to go out shopping, you need to make a list of what it is you really need. Now, on to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is to stick to the list. That list you make of what you really need is like your Bible. You live by it and your grocery shopping will strive. Now, on to tip number 3. Tip number 3 is to cook at home. Not only do you know what is going into your food and your meals, but it is also cheaper than eating out. Next up, we have tip number 4. Tip number 4 is to cook large portions. The reason you want to cook large portions is that means leftovers, and that basically means meals that you can use and enjoy again. Now, tip number 5, we're halfway through. Tip number 5 is to not shop when you are hungry. Shopping when you are hungry just leads to impulse buys that are not only bad for you, but for your budget as well. Tip number 6. Tip number 6 is to buy whole foods. Some foods are cheaper than in processed form and probably healthier, so you can go ahead and buy cheap and healthy whole foods. On to tip number 7. Tip number 7 is to buy generic brands. Most stores have tons of generic brands, and they are virtually the same product as name brands, just cheaper. Now, on to tip number 8. Tip number 8 is to stop buying junk food. It is a lose-lose situation. All it does is damage your health, and it's expensive. So what's the point? Tip number 9. Tip number 9 is to buy cheaper cuts of meats. It's less expensive cuts that are just as good, and they can still be used for numerous numbers of things. Alright, so this is the last tip. Tip number 10. Now, tip number 10 is to stock up on sales. Don't go out and buy everything on sale, but if it's something you'll use a lot, go out and buy it. Save a little money. Alright, so that's the conclusion of the 10 tips to eating healthy on a budget. But trust me, there are so many more out there, and each one will save you a little money. So if I'll leave you with one thing today, it's that there is no need for you to break the bank for healthy and nutritious food. Eating healthy on a budget is easier than you might think.